Hello and welcome to New Earth Awakening. Today, we welcome to the show the amazing Peter DeBenedittis, PhD. He began his spiritual growth while practicing recovering in a 12-step program and has since taken classes on channeling, attending the Ramata School of Enlightenment, and studied at Oneness University in India, where he received awakening. He is co-founder of Becoming Awesome and in 24/7 conscious contact with Source or Spirit, the big S. Peter, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Carolina. Thank you so much for inviting me, and hello to everyone who's listening and viewing.
Thank you, Peter. So let's start a little bit by you sharing more about your journey, how your awakening came to be, and what awakening means to you.
Thank you. Let's start with what awakening, as I understand it. In popular culture, everybody says awakening is understanding that you're being lied to and the governments do this and education and medicine systems do that. That's nice information, but that's not awakening. That's awareness of reality. Awakening is when your mind, you have a neurobiological shift that creates a gap between experience and reaction. So your mind is now gapped, and as such, you respond rather than react. For example, when you talk to somebody, most people will be already thinking of what they're going to say, or they remember a movie from their past or a song or something like that. So you're immediately out of the experience, okay? And you're doing future or past because that's what mind does, all right? But awakening is a gap, a very small gap. And because you have that small gap, you suddenly have the ability to respond rather than react. And usually that's with silence to bring more of the awareness in. So your awareness levels go way up because you're not in your mind. And as such, then, when you do respond, it's authentic. It's really what's in you, not what's just spinning on surface of mind. So that's what I call awakening. And I've been blessed with that. And it's a journey for everybody. It's not like an all or nothing on-off switch. Some people it is, but for most of us, it's many steps along the way. And I've come far enough along where now all of a sudden abilities kick. Most people think that all the new age 5D abilities is really like you have to learn this and that. You have to let go of what's stopping you, emotional release of your densities and blockages. And then you have to have the awareness to access all this stuff. And you get the awareness through awakening.
I love it. And I want to unpack a lot of things that you said, and I don't know where to begin even. So
dive in.
I see that your definition of awakening is similar to the one that Tracy has already showed in this channel. I'm going to link her videos also here so that people can watch it.
Yes, that's my beloved wife. We went to Oneness University together. I went there 4 times. She went there 3 times. And I'm just going to share a little story for you because it gets some insight in it. So when you're at Oneness University, you're in this situation where all your barriers are removed because you're in the presence of high consciousness beings. I'm talking about a lot of monks and stuff that their consciousness is way up there. As such, there's really all the stuff you're holding back comes to the forefront. So Tracy and I would go there and just hate the shit out of each other because there was so much that we were holding back there. Now, and then to make it even more fun, you're supposed to be in silence. And we were sleeping in male and female dorms, so we weren't seeing each other that much except at meals and then be, and after a few weeks of this, it all broke loose. So we could express things fully because anything fully expressed turns to bliss, right? So everything we were holding got expressed. And then there was nothing there to be angry or hate about. But during the part where it was coming up and not fully released, there was a lot of tension. So this was hilarious. It was like we went to this place and it was like the opposite of couples counseling or therapy. It's like, oh, does this hurt? Yeah, let's poke there. Does that hurt? Yeah, let's poke there. And all that took place. And so that happened at Oneness. And then after you did all that clearing, then the monks would do a transfer of consciousness to really embed the awakening in you. And as a result, those of us who did this and did the program seriously and actually continued to work it to do our release work, what they gave us set in there. And so now we have the ability to transfer awakening consciousness. And I do that on my channel all the time. I do a monthly Q&A, and we always ended up with a transmission with Tracy and I passing that energy along. So that's why we both see awakening as the same thing, as we were both taught and given the gift, and our lives changed radically, and now we're madly in love.
With what? With everything?
Oh, well, with each other, but yeah, it's with everything. Because it's funny, because we still fight and stuff. It's really interesting. We still fight, but our fights take 5 minutes or less. Usually they're done in a couple of minutes. It's like she'll do something or I'll do something, and I'll be, "Arr," and she'll be, "Arr," and then the other one, because we don't react, right? We got that gap. We have the response. Okay, we can feel into the awareness of the situation, and then the other person will say, either, "Yeah, that's true. I've been horrible. I did that to you." And then the other person will feel hurt and stuff. And then, or the other person will say, "Mm, no, I don't think so. I think you're reflecting some trauma that you're still holding back on me. And I'm just the one who's poking you. I think you need to look at that." And then the other person, because they're awakened and they were authentic, so they just released it and didn't hold back, they can say, yeah. So almost all our fights are done in like a minute or two. I mean, we still go at it, but it's authentic, and then it's done, and then we're in the bliss love field again.
Thank you very much. I really love that so much because that is basically embodiment. Like the way that I see what you are doing or saying since the beginning. That's why I said there is so much to unpack because there is this gap. This is what I call going from action, from reaction into action, going from being the victim of your life, things are happening to you, to being the creator of your life, knowing that you are this creator because you are anyway, consciously or unconsciously. So, and then you have this gap, you are able to choose, and choice is Christ consciousness. Like, you know what I mean? And then you choose how you act upon whatever is showing up. You are choosing how you want to show up. Because there is a saying, you don't always get what you want, but you always give what you are, right?
Okay, get what you are. I like that. I love everything you're saying, Carolina. I love it because it moves us out of the victimhood. And most people play the victim card and they build their whole life around it. Oh, poor me, look at me, and all this other stuff. I mean, you told I started in the 12 steps where one of the slogans was pour me, pour me, pour me a drink. Right. Okay. So just how they do that. So now what happens is when you have the awareness, which is the follow-up of awakening, when you have the awareness, you can sit there and understand, well, I'm choosing this. I'm the master creator here. And why am I choosing things I don't like? And so you see what's all buried in your unconscious and all that stuff. And then you become, as you say, Christed, the Christ consciousness, which is you manifest and create the joy and love that you want.
Exactly. And you do it also in every situation of your life because that you are awakened or that you are ascending or however you want to call it on your path doesn't mean that no adversity will ever come upon you ever, or you will never be surrounded
If
with
adversity
anything.
didn't come, if adversity didn't come, you'd never have impetus to grow. So we actually walk into situations that create challenges. And sometimes it's unconscious, which you have to clear all your backlog out. That's what Tracy and I do all the time is we offer sessions by donations 3 days a week, okay, to help people tap into their unconscious and clear that out, right? Once you do that, you're not unconsciously creating the problems, and then you don't have the victim. You don't, the saying, why does this always happen to me? It's because you're a powerful creator. That's why. Look at what you created, own it. Okay. So once you get past that, then you can actually step into the role of, wow, I'm embodied Christ consciousness, heaven on earth. God is in me. Therefore, I can create in the love that I choose.
Exactly. And you do it when some adversity comes up. Like you said in your marriage, you're both awakened. You both know, we're creating this. Why? What are we? What is there maybe to be cleared? What is there to be realigned? What are we doing here?
It's really nice having an awakened partner. It really, really is nice. And it's not like how I grew up with the fairy tale myths of it's always love and it's not like that at all. It's the full range of human experience, the fullness of all of it. And so, I can have anger and stuff, but it's fleeting. And then I can have love and it's enduring. So it's just, yeah, can't say enough that I am blessed that Tracy's in my life.
Thank you. And How about embodiment and integration? Let's talk a little bit more about this communication that you were also talking about, which for me is a very big topic in relationships. The communication, starting with the communication that you have within yourself, for yourself, your inner child, this wounded part of you, going on with the relationships that you create in your own reality, right? So
Yeah.
you said most people listen to answer. Yes, that's right. So that teaching that I love is teaching that communication can be open, that you just receive whatever the other person is telling you with gratefulness, for them to be open with you, being grateful that they are being vulnerable and showing up, very open with you. And without any judgment for what's happening, without taking it personally or anything like that. And going from
So
there, tell me.
I want to step in
Yes,
because I want to turn everything you said on its head, okay?
yes.
Because everything you said is true, and it doesn't do you a damn bit of good until you actually practice awareness and awakening. Oh, I'm going to try to be open and non-judgmental. Screw that. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. If you're going to leave the room, kick a few chairs over on the way out. Be authentically you. And if you're authentically you and you can start to see that, oh, my mind is spinning justification, reason why, which means you still haven't felt it yet because you're keeping the tamper on with the mind spin, 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 spin. And you're going to have all these horrible things. Now, what you're saying is absolutely true. And there's a lot of great teachings and beautiful books that talk about it. And even in our religions, they talk about turn the other cheek, which is great, unless you don't have the ability to turn the other cheek. Then you just feel guilty for not turning it. All right. So what Tracy and I teach is you need to be authentically you, completely, totally you. And then allow yourself to understand the consequence of it. This is how it feels when I'm this way. This is what's going on. And that's how the clearing work happens. So a lot of what we do with our clearing work is to sit there and cry with people, to yell and scream with people so that they can have the ability to get that backlog out. Then everything you said is quite true. But till you get there, until you practice that stuff, it's just like going to church and feeling guilty again. I'm a sinner, heal me. You can't get in that. That's the loop you're in. So what the most disturbing thing I learned, at least for my beautiful ego, was that I am a collection of programs. You are a collection of programs. This is why I'm loving AI, because literally it's just showing us we're a collection of programs. They're programmed this way, you respond that way. And everybody thinks, all these beautiful things about AI, but that's another topic, okay? So I'm a collection of programs. Once I understand that I'm these programs, most of which run unconsciously, then I have the power to create new programs. And we understand this in the self-help world, but it's all mental. They don't embody it. They can't get past the resistance. Now, what people don't understand, okay, we all know the law of attraction. We all know it's true. What people don't understand is that 90% of it is unconscious. And so what we're holding on the inside reflects our outside. Most people can't even get to their feelings, let alone their unconscious beliefs supporting the feeling. So let me give you an example in my life. So when I started this, I had 2 memories before I was 8 years old. Okay. Because there was so much that I had to block off the pain and all this and that. Now I can remember back to conception. All right. All my childhood in the womb time, all the way conception. And from there, past lives are opening up right and left. Now, and then not the between lives, the before lives. What was I as a consciousness before I was even embodied in a physicality, whether it was on Earth or some other star system?
You mean the moment
So
that you
this is
split
where,
up? The moment.
yeah, I can go all the way. I can go all the way back to that. Okay. And boy, that was something. Talk about the fall. What, God, what did you do? I'm not part of you anymore. Ah! Okay. All right. So I can go all the way back to that. So this is where we're all headed. All right. Now, to get there, you have to move past what's keeping you, the blockages that keep you from understanding this. And so that's what it for me is all about. Once you get to there, then it's all choice. It's like, oh, yeah, this has happened. I can embody this now. I can do that now. And you have unlimited power. Right now, this is still a lesson I'm working on because I still haven't manifested the endless supply of wealth as I mentally would like to think it. However, I have manifested I always have what I need when I need it. I want to take a trip, money shows up, right? I want to do this, it shows up. But I'm still in the mental game of, oh, where am I going to get this? And right. And that causes suffering. Okay. So we're getting to the place now where we see exactly what the programming is in place. We remove the programming, and this is not mental. Everybody thinks you just do it with your mind, right? And you know that thing, I think, therefore I am? What app? I mean, you could say it's a tautology. They use the end conclusion as the proof. I think, therefore I am. No. I am, therefore I am.
Yeah.
Because you could also say, I cook, therefore I am. I comb my hair, therefore I am. What is this? I think, therefore I am. Just crazy.
Well, this is
so everybody thinks
identification with the ego, with this story that has been
Right.
created inside of your...
And let's glorify those, and let's write books about it and build towers and give people degrees for it, which I have. So when you get to the point where you fully complete an experience and see what holds most of that mental stuff in place is the emotional part, the physical part. Remember, we're on Earth. We're in a 3D reality in a body. So you complete that physical part, and then you open yourself up to, oh, well, this is the programming that's running it. I can replace that programming with something better. You can't ever do the replacement, which is what you're talking about, all the love and light and understanding, non-judgmental observant. You can't do that if you're still holding the density that keeps the program running. So what we do is we work with people to try to get them to release all that. And then, fundamental rule, this is another problem with some New Age stuff. While I'm railing on the New Age, let me keep at it. A lot of people don't understand, never take something out without putting something better back in. Oh, I did all this release work. Why am I still suffering? Well, did you put in a new set of programming and operating instructions? No. How do I do that? You just ask it from Source, because Source is trying to give it to you 24/7, but because you're blocked, it keeps bouncing off. So you do your release work and you go, okay, Source, good stuff now. Give me auspicious qualities.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Release this, the L that is not love, and bring down in its place everything that is love. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And these are conscious choices, because part of being separated from Source is that we have free will. Source fractalized its consciousness so it can grow and expand, and it gave us free will. Therefore, we have to choose the new stuff. We can't just get rid of things and expect anything to change unless we activate our power to make the choice to become something greater. And love is as good as it gets, so why not that? Gratitude, that's another good one.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes I try to make it a little bit smaller, Sometimes I just say, "Oh my God, the prayer with one word. Help."
So while we're talking about prayer, I watched this fantastic movie last night. It was called, I think it was called Dare Wild or Dare, I don't know what it was. Anyway, so it was about a lady in Ireland who wanted to win the Chelsea Garden Show in England, biggest garden thing in England. And she was a nobody and had no resources. So the first thing she does is she writes down, "Thank you for giving me the award for the best in garden show at the Chelsea." Okay. And then she puts it on her refrigerator. That's it. So it was like tracing her, like, she knows how to pray. This lady knows how to pray. She's praying that it's already done. Then in the middle of the movie, she's with this guy who she needs to get help from. And that's the whole dynamic of the movie. In the middle of the movie, she's talking to the guy and she says, and I don't remember it exactly, but such a beautifully written line. She says, okay, if you say that it has already happened, then it has happened. All right, so that was the whole prayer. You give gratitude in advance. And then at the end of the movie, she wins the award, of course. It's a successful life. And you find out that that is the first line of her acceptance speech. She actually wrote her thank you speech before she won the award, before she even started to try to get it, and then kept it on her refrigerator. And it was, thank you. Gratitude for a reality created the reality.
Exactly. I love how you're saying that. And I love how you shared that you may not be where the brain sometimes wants to be in regards of, I don't know, a lot of abundance and a lot of wealth and a lot of everything, you know what I mean? But this step of I have everything that I need when I need it and even before I need it, that is like so powerful already. The next step would be like, Yeshua, here is water. Let's drink wine, people. That's the next step.
Yeah. That he said it. He said it. This too and more you shall do. So that was the teacher from the master teacher. And now the question is, are we going to keep being students, or are we going to use this time of ascension to step into the teacher roles? Are we going to embody our mastery? You're doing it. You got this channel that helps millions of people. And I've got this channel that helps millions of people. And we both have projects in the work to help even more. Okay. And so, yeah, what are we doing? We're saying, yeah, I got that little piece of Christ inside me, which we all have, whether you call it Christ or God or whatever. That's the whole reality, is understanding I am a God source energy being. I got it in me. I own it. What does a God source energy being do? Godly things.
Exactly. So this is where we're moving towards to. And meanwhile, we start with the refrigerator and whatever we want to write on it, like these gratitude prayers on the refrigerator that you have been talking about in this movie. But it's beautiful.
Yeah, I just got to talk about this more because I was
Yes.
commenting to Tracy. I was like, so we both like put pictures on our refrigerator of people we know and memories or magnets we buy at different, you know how it is, a refrigerator, okay? And I started thinking, this was the only thing on her refrigerator. And I said, hey, sweetie, what would happen if we only put our prayers on the refrigerator? All the stuff, because like it's our source. We go there to eat. Literally, it's a metaphor. I must feed myself now. What if we were only feeding ourselves with none of the past? You know, like put the pictures of the family and the stuff everywhere else, put the travel magnets somewhere else, but only put on our source our prayers. What would happen? So I still have to do some arm twisting to get her on board with that, but I think it's coming.
Well, that sounds beautiful. And, you know, I have magnets as well. And with the magnets, I have also like sentences, you know, about what does the ego want and what does source want, you know, like this kind of making this bridging basically between the earthly and divine, because there is nothing to bridge at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, when you take the forgiveness, I channeled for myself in automatic writing that it is about ascension. It is forgiveness is like a staircase that is bringing you higher and higher in the vibrational frequency towards enlightenment. So forgiveness is very important with this human experience where we are in this duality that is also illusionary, but we still feel it, all of it. These low vibrations like anger or something like that, but that is informing us that we maybe need a boundary or something and to step up our game, you know? So it's a blessing as well, and it's divine as well. You know what I mean? So
I love what you're saying
tell
about
me
forgiveness,
your take.
Carolina. So I want to add to it,
Yes.
okay? Because forgiveness was a big thing for me. Because, like, first of all, I was raised in all these churches where they beat me with it, right? Didn't help, okay? And then this other stuff, I knew there was something going on. I finally experienced this through the teachings of Oneness University and the other stuff in my life. Fundamental rule, anything fully expressed turns to bliss. Okay, so if you can move the energetic charge, the density, fully express your emotions, then you're in this energetic bliss state. So if you can fully express the pain and hurt and suffering, then the energy is no longer there that caused the problem for forgiveness. So, for example, when Tracy and I teach courses, we do this thing called the parenting process where you heal your relationships with your parents, because that's primary. Most people have wounding. You just ask them about it, they'll go on and on. Yeah, this happened, that happened, right? Okay, so we have them first experience all the pain their parents caused them, right? Cry it out, do it in the group, experience it all. Then experience all the pain you caused your parents. Yes, it's a two-sided coin. You did stuff, even if it was unintentional. They were letdowns and stuff. Then after that, there's nothing left to forgive because the energy has been changed so it's no longer in the field. And then if you want to say the words and stuff, then it has meaning and value. Okay. So we teach this course. Usually we teach it over 2 days, and we do the parenting process on the first day. And on the second day, we ask people, okay, anything happen? And at least once a class, usually several times a class, people will say, I haven't talked to my parents in 5 years and they called me up. Or I've had this terrible relationship since I was a kid and now this happened. And it's like, of course, because the energy's changed. And then you can say the words of the forgiveness. Because if you say them without changing the energy, you're just putting icing on a turd cake. Okay. My favorite example is we were doing this process around children. So this was an advanced class. So it was this follow-up class. And what we were doing was now we're going to heal all the relationships with your children. So we do this process. And when it was done, this lady starts jumping up and down. She holds her cell phone up. She goes, my daughter texted me in the middle of this. We haven't had years and years where we wouldn't speak to each other. And I'm doing this forgiveness process so that he feel the pain. She texted me in the middle of it. That's how fast it happens.
It's quantum. Yeah. And then on the highest level, there is nothing to forgive because you chose to incarnate in this incarnation so that you would be able to do the forgiveness, to do the transmutation, to basically elevate all the low vibrations into higher vibrations, because that is leading us towards this amazing awakening, mass awakening that we're experiencing right now. So
that's the beauty of it. When I'm connected to my spirit, all right, and then I can connect from there to the spirit of everybody else. We're always busting a gut. They're like, because they're not in the middle of the 3D feeling the reactions and the charges. They're up there, okay, because they've already dealt with all of it, right? And so we're always laughing. But they're laughing about it. They're like, oh, and then you did this, and then you did that. Oh, that was crazy. And then you did this, and then we fall like that. And they're just, all the parties involved, spirit is just laughing about it. And so when I'm in my 3D self, of course, I'm fuck you, I'm angry and all that other stuff, all right? But when I'm in this higher state, then I'm like, whoa. So the get there is what you're talking about, Carolina. How do you do the ascension? How do you do the release work? How do you do this mass awakening? And the way I understand it, which is super cool, is it's not like some kind of punishment or task or duty. Earth is an experiment. Earth is the first time in our universe where the goal was to get physicality and the higher density awareness both to take place at the same time. We've got the idea of the higher beings and the angels, and it's all heavenly and white and stuff, but they don't get to bungee jump. They don't get to scuba dive. They don't get to make love because they're not in a physical reality. So Earth was the first experiment where it wasn't just going to the physical reality to experience this and learn about it. Earth was the first experiment. Can we, rather, in the old days, you'd ascend and leave your body, right? Okay, go to heaven. Oh, I'm going to a better place, right? Okay, this is a mass experiment. Bring a whole planet up to the level of this awareness and maintain enough physicality to have the joy of experience at the same time. This is massive what we're doing.
thank you very much, because that leads us already to this topic of 2026 and what is going to happen. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. So everybody has heard about the bifurcation, right? Well, I want to put an S on that. So it's not just bifurcations, it's multi-furcations. There's going to be just furcation. There's going to be a lot of furcating, right? It's like, I like it because it's like almost like a pun on fornicating. But anyway, so what happens is everybody's going to be able to move into a new reality. Okay. Change timelines, exercise their God source creator being energies to choose the timeline they want to live in. So what'll happen is there's going to be we've had a mass consciousness for a long time. That's been reinforced through our culture and through our mass media and stuff like that. Now that's breaking down. The internet is a sign of that. You can find an interest group for anything now on the internet, right? And that's just because we're getting to furcate. All right. So now we're going to be able to move where we move out of realities. Those of us who have the awareness are going to step into new reality. So there's going to be a big breaking apart And then as enough of us get there, you're going to be in the higher densities. And it's like, what really matters? Oh, love and stuff like that. And then it's going to come back together into another cohesive thing. So it's not like it's going to be an all at once where you just shift. Now, this process isn't just like this. Everyone thinks, oh, it's just like that. The fact that it can be done over a few hundred years is like an instance in the blink of the eyes of the galaxy and the universe in billions and billions of years. So that's really quick. Now, what 2026 represents is the point where we've gone far enough. 2012 was the point where awakening started to brood on the planet, and we were clearly on a mass timeline of it's going to happen. And even that goes back to the harmonic convergence in the 1970s that set us on this timeline, all right? Now we're at the point in 2026 where many of us are going to start to pop because we have the ability to move into these new timelines. And for me, this is really challenging because I'm still waiting for somebody to come ride in on the white horse and rescue me and save me. I'm waiting for the reval when all the money is there and it's free. And it ain't going to be like that. I'm going to shift into my reality where I suddenly have flow and I suddenly have the power to create what I want to create. And as I accept that, I'm going to have more and more ability to create that. And then what'll happen is that the whole mass will start to coalesce because I'm not the only one doing it. You're doing it. You watching and listening to this have the potential to do it. You wouldn't be listening to it if you didn't know you were on the verge of making that step. And then you're going to have different things. The key is you have to choose it. This is so, so important. You can't be the spectator in the theater and watch the show and go, oh, that's a nice show. Oh, we're in a new reality. No, it doesn't work like that. You're also the actors. You're also the director. You're also the writer of the play. So you have to start saying, oh, I'm the creator of this. I'm choosing this. I'm seeing how I've unconsciously chose all this other stuff. You do your release work. Now you're open to move into the furcation and you choose the reality you want. And then you start having a better and better mass reality. Right now, I'm in a community of two, me and Tracy. We're in a meditative group where we get together every week. And so there's 20 of us. Grow, 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 grow. And then all these different groups and individuals are going to get together and go, yeah, I kind of like that. I mean, I don't even know you except for watching your videos and talking to you like this. And I'm in love with you, right? So how can you not like have these kinds of relations when you start to do your energy work and then you move into the vibrational field of other people doing their energy work? And 2026 is the point where the key has been turned. The door is unlocked. It is opening. And this is the point where people can walk through.
Thank you. What would you tell the audience how they can release anything that is no longer serving them, and also how they can release the resistance for them to shift into a higher timeline?
Beautiful. So I'm going to do a little personal self-promotion here. Our website is becomingawesome.one.one. And I'm not sure when this is going to air, but for a couple of months at the beginning of the year, we're still going to offer our free 14-day program. Now, it's not really 14 days, it's 14 lessons. And it lays out pretty much what we're saying and gives you a step-by-step procedure on how to do the release. Okay? So it's like a lot of people say, release. Well, what does that mean? Here's how, here's the guided stuff, here's how you do it. Now, come April in 2026, we're going to be releasing the Becoming Awesome Ascension program. It's got all the wisdom of Tracy and I and all the practices that work laid out. And it's going to be on an app you can subscribe on. Hopefully, you'll be an affiliate partner, Carolina, when it comes. And you can get that. Now, it will also have a free section of about 15 or 20 lessons, which will give you the basics on how to do this. Okay? And then if you're serious, you have to do it systematically. This is what a lot of people don't appreciate and don't get about Ascension. It's not a one and done. You don't just go in and say to somebody else like your doctor and they do this and they give you pills and you're done. No, you're the master. You have to create it. When I talk to spirit, it's usually 3 to 5 months of 4 or 5 days a week for at least 20 minutes a day. That my greatest teacher said 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform. 3 to 5 months, 4 or 5 days a week for 20 minutes. Okay. Really going in there and fully experiencing. I mean this systematically. You make a list of every single thing that happened to you that you're still not right with. And you know what it is? Back in third grade when so-and-so said that and the teacher did this, back in high school when that happened, back on your first date and you didn't know, all that stuff. You just make a list of it and you complete it. That's why it takes 3 to 5 months. So that's really how it is. You got to kind of do your work, because if you're still waiting for oh, I'm going to be saved, guess what? You're going to pop into the timeline of saviors. And what happens in the timeline of saviors? There's villains to be saved from. So you still have to experience all that crap. Whereas if you step into the timeline of, oh, I'm the master creator and I'm with these other master creators, we're creating this beautiful world. Guess what? You create a beautiful world.
You create the new earth.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. I love that. And thank you for offering this gift of 14 days for free. Because, some people say they don't have the resources to start or to do anything, to shift anything. But there is so much for free out there from so many amazing people like you and Tracy, and those sessions that you offer as well for free. It's like a blessing that everybody that really wants to transform their lives can start right now. So thank you.
Yeah. And we actually offer sessions by donation. So if you do want to give no donation, we'll be happy. You do want to drain your bank account and put it in ours, we'll be extra happy. Okay. So it's all, and there's value in giving, right? As you give, so shall you receive. It's exactly. But we're not saying you must pay to get it. We're taking that dynamic out of it. It's like, what do you choose to give? And that's going to allow yourself on what do you choose to get? That's what I see when we move to the new earth. That's how it's going to be. So we're just starting it now. And it's kind of scary at first because it means that we're not like income and transaction and all that stuff. And there's still bills to pay, right? So it's like, it's scary, but it's so liberating and opening. And the beauty is when our Ascension program goes online and you can start to get the app. You can move at your own pace. It's going to be really incredible. 60 lessons, 16 processes as a group, weekly support meetup groups, monthly question and answers and energetic transmissions. So much is there. And that's only level 1, the basic skills. Level 2 is going to come out the year after that. And level 3, when you really can do all this stuff. It's right in front of you, everybody, whether it's with Tracy and I, whether it's with Carolina, whether it's whoever you feel drawn to. If you follow your inner work, you follow your guide and you stop being the window shopper, stop just going and looking, oh, that seems nice, or I'll try this. And that's what some people do, is they're stuck in a loop of they try everything and they burn out for 1 month. I was working with this one lady recently and I said, you're not going to like this, but Spirit's telling you to stop. Just all your programs, stop them. Pick one. It doesn't matter which one. And just do that one for like 5 or 6 months. Okay. Stop the whole window shopping game and really commit. And see, that's what a lot of people are not ready to do. They're still not thinking. And it goes back to the fundamental belief. Okay. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I don't have it in me. I'm being punished, all that other stuff, which is the first thing of identifying and clearing through full expression.
What came to me when you were saying that was the word discipline, It's like commitment, but commitment to what, Because the word discipline has been also misused, I would say, or misinterpreted.
The slave driver in me wants to discipline you right away. But the point is, you see, we are who we choose to be. And if I choose to be something regularly, i.e. disciplined, then guess what? I'm that.
Exactly. So discipline means to me that you are giving yourself the love and the nurturement and taking care of your needs on a regular basis, right? And that is your priority. Your priority is your nourishment, your growth, right? But some people...
Right. And you make it your priority, what's going to happen? Your nourishment and growth, because it's a priority.
Yes.
Oh, but I'm too busy. And then you wonder why it's passing you by, because you choose that. I know so many people, family members and stuff, they're like, oh, this is beautiful. And then they're like a squirrel. I got to go back here and work on this. And I'm like, does that give you happiness? Oh, yes. You sure it doesn't just feed your addiction that you just work all the time and then keep wondering why you don't have this other stuff?
Question mark, right?
Yeah, Carolina, yeah. I'm having so much fun. I did not know I just got to tell you guys that we're having a party this evening. People are going to come over and we're going to sing, right? Just to eat and sing, right? But it's like I didn't know I was going to start my day with like laughing, my just having such a great time doing this interview. So I hope that whoever's watching this can pick up that energy and that you can go out and create your own beautiful energetics, because this is where we're headed. And when you do, share it with Carolina, share it with me, because that's the best part, isn't it? When you're together with people sharing it.
Exactly. In an awakened way. You know, I tended to tell the story where I was like shopping out with my boyfriend, and there was a trigger coming up, and directly it was like, a trigger, what? What happened? And then we were like, okay, so what did just happen? Let's talk about it. By the way, what kind of bread do you want to have? This one. Okay. So what did happen?
That's great. I'm working with this one guy. He's actually not working. I just gave him some instruction, pushed him out the door. He's doing it on his own, but he's been complimenting me, which I love, of course, just say all that stuff. And he says that first he was resistant to doing his clearing work, but now he looks at it like playing a video game. Because he, like I said, he didn't wait for the trigger to come up. He systematically made the list and started working his way through it. And he says, yeah, it's like I go in there and I'm going to go clear a level. It's like playing a video game. I'm going to get all the monsters in the dungeon and I'm just going to clear that level. And I'm going to be the boss of that now. And I thought, wow, this dude turned it into a video game. And he's growing. You can tell his energy field when, I was around him at first, it was kind of with compact. And now it's like open and everything. It's like so much fun. It's like, I'm going to turn it into a video game. I'm going to clear a level. I'm going to up level today. Here I go.
Yeah, I love that. For me, sometimes it's like one half of me is crying like, "Ooh," and the other half is laughing,
I've been doing that all the time. I've been having some struggles, right? With physical things and all this other stuff. I won't get into it, right? And I've also been totally blissed out. So I'll sit there and I'll go, oh, this really hurts. And then part of me is like, oh gosh, I'm in love. And I'm like, what? How can this be? Or I'm still having the same challenges that I used to have, but I'm in causeless joy. That's what Tracy and I call it, causeless joy, for no reason. And in the middle of what would normally be, oh, let's go complain about this.
Yeah, I love that, Like, for example, for me, it was one story where I was in this group for people who have asthma, diagnosed asthma. And the people were telling stories about how dreadful it is and how, concerning it is for them sometimes even to walk up the stairs and get, to their homes, in their apartments, in these buildings and so on, and walk and so forth. And then there are these machines where you can measure how much volume you have in your lungs. And everybody was called to put their breath in it and to say the number. And the people were like, 400, 350, 450, 500, you know what I mean? And when it came to me, it was like, okay, so tell us about yourself. And I was like, well, I'm training for a half marathon right now. And so on and so forth, and then the breath, and it showed like 200 or 225 or something like that.
See, you were creating your reality. God, I love you. Gosh. So I don't subscribe to what I'm telling you right now, but I want to tell you because I witnessed it. So I'm at the Ramtha School of Enlightenment, right? And for some reason, the Ram's just mad at everybody. It's like he thinks you're all screwing around. So he gets the whole place and we go outside and we stand in the field. So there's 500 there. And then he picks out the people who are the worst physically. I mean, people who are like crutches and stuff like that. And he sits there and then he just yells at them. He spends like 20 minutes yelling at them. All right. And then he says, now drop your crutches and walk to me now. And some people did. Other people were still frozen, but the others were just and then did it. So they needed to be shaken up, right? And I don't agree with this system of traumatize somebody to let go of trauma. I don't agree with any of that. But I watch it happen. I'm like, what just happened? All right. And in the story you're telling is so beautiful, is we have such power, but we get significance. We create a mental set and then we put our identity on it and we believe this is who I am because it's the story I tell, right? right? I'm telling the story of recovery and stuff. You're telling the story of running a half marathon, right? And it doesn't matter what the physical things show you. All right, you running a half marathon, okay? And it's just God, I love what you're saying about understanding. And for me, it's the unconscious. This is where I hang my hat. This is my identity. And one of the programs that Tracy and I put in the app, and it's so cool, is it's a thing called a japa. A japa is you repeat a mantra over and over for a period of time, like a sacred name or a deity or something. So we use the mantra, I am existence, consciousness, bliss. I am existence, consciousness, bliss. And you just do that until it gets set in there. And then when you're in the open state, you say, okay, spirit, make it real. So now imagine if you were in that support group and they say, okay, tell me your story. And you go, well, I'm existence, consciousness, bliss. And right now I'm putting my consciousness on asthma problems.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's really awesome, you know? Like, yes, you are creating your story, so make it a good one.
Yeah. So I like to do that. I like to embellish stories and make it. I learned this when I first got my PhD. I was struggling, right? I sent in my dissertation. It was bleeding with red ink. Didn't have it in me because I felt so terrible. So I let it sit to the very deadline where I had to go write it and defend it in the next 6 months, or I'd lose all my 7 years of coursework. Okay. So fortunately, I had a breakthrough with some emotional stuff with my dad, and I wrote it. I sent it in, and they said, sure, come and defend. All right. So then I decided I was living in Guam and I had to go to Pennsylvania to defend. All right. So first of all, I go to my boss and I say, hey, Carl, I need you to give me 6 weeks off because I have to go do this and rewrite it and all this other stuff. And he goes, okay. And I go, with pay, you have to pay for this. And he goes, Peter, you just took a 2-week vacation that I paid for. And I go, I know, but this is work. And so he says, yes. Right? So then I decide to turn it into a mythical journey. I'm going to cross the ocean to go to the Tower of the Wise Men, where I was going to sit before them and present my understanding so that they can then initiate me. So I was telling this whole mythical fantasy, right? And it was great. So I got to the defense. And the first thing I do is I give them these little shell bead necklaces because I was living in Guam. And then I give them all a chocolate bar and I go, any questions? And then they're like, Peter, how can we ask you hard questions when you give us chocolate and shells, right? So I was in and out of my defense in 20 minutes, okay? Like a record, right? Oral defense of a dissertation, 20 minutes, you're done. Okay. And I'm just telling that story because one, the grace of the transformation, and two, a big part of it was I turned it into a quest. I chose to tell a story of becoming, and a story that didn't involve struggle, a story that involved grace and ease. It all goes back to the prayer on the refrigerator. Thank you for giving me this award.
Yes, I love it. I also have a story to share about the MBA that I did.
Nice, tell me.
I also had an oral, how do you call it? Defense?
Yeah, defense and exam.
Yeah. And during that time, I didn't, like, it was basically about everything that we had learned throughout all the time, right? And including the thesis, right? So I was like, well, I'm going to learn some of the things as well, again and again and again, of those that we learned throughout the last years. And some of those things I'm just going to live out. And I already, it's like I was always with everybody, like higher self, team of guides, all of them. I was like, in German, you say Mut zur Lücke. This is, you have to have courage to have a gap. So, and then I went like this, and it was so funny because they asked me something that I had left out. And in that moment, there was this gap. I didn't know it because I did leave it out. So the only thing that I knew to do was this. I closed my eyes and I was like, help. One word prayer, help. And in that moment, the numbers started coming into my mind, this clear, how do you call that again? The clear...
You could see it, clairvoyance.
Thank you. Came in and I started seeing pictures, So then I started saying what I was seeing. And this person, the professor was like, yeah, not quite exact a year. It was like 3 years earlier or later, but yeah, exactly. And I was just like, thanks. No idea what I'm doing, but thank you.
That's so beautiful. This is where we're headed. Yeah, automatic knowing. Automatic knowing. That was one of the things that when you move into these awakened states and it becomes permanent, you then have the ability to just know what you need to know when you need to know it. And it's like, oh, I got a library in my head. Yeah, pretty much. You got the Akash right there in your head.
Exactly.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful, Carolina. Thank you for inspiring me.
No, you're welcome, but this is like for me really crazy on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's so natural because we have been living in a state that was so unnatural. The natural way is the 24/7 connection that you are also talking about since the beginning. The internet is gone. Are we back?
Yeah, you're freezing up. You're freezing up on me. I can hear you now.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. I love it when we get glitches like that. The universe tells us, yeah, you still have resistance, don't you? What I can be automatic because this is what people do when they watch. It's like Carolina's got all these gifts and abilities. She can just automatically pass her tests. And it's like, nah, we're all gonna learn to do that. And we're just having the internet show us our resistance to learning to do. I was saying the internet went all wonky on us, an external sign that you and I and maybe people watching are not yet ready to fully embrace the power to create automatic knowing and passing tests and stuff like that. Everyone thinks, oh, Carolina's special because she can just automatically know how to pass an oral defense. And the reality is we're getting to the place where we're all going to embody that. And this is a demonstration. And the internet glitch is just showing us, yeah, maybe we're not ready to receive it 100% yet.
But we will soon.
You're right. You're so right. We will.
Yeah, exactly. Because that is our natural way. The unnatural is how we have been living for the past, 5,000 years, that we were disconnecting, from source and feeling disconnected because in truth, you can never be disconnected because we're all one.
Right.
So
Right.
this is coming back, dear ones. Everyone is going to be aligned.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to just tell you that I've done several interviews and I always get excited for them. You could tell I'm an excitable boy, but I've not laughed this hard in a long time, Carolina. So thank you for bringing your grace to this interview with me. And thank you for inviting me to be part of your podcast and your effort. And gosh, thank you for the laughs.
Thank you, Peter, for being here, being part of the New Earth Awakening community as well. And my last question for you would be, what is your highest vision for the New Earth?
Wow. That's hilarious that you asked that because I hadn't really thought of my vision yet. But I guess I can focus on that now. I'm just kind of going along for the ride because it's like I'm entering in this state of awe and wonder. It's like, what's next? Surprise me again. I want presents under the tree. Oh, here's another present. So, I haven't really looked at where we're all going as a planet, except that we're the people who were on the ground, boots on the ground. We punched our ticket for the hottest event in the universe, the ascension of a planet bringing 5D into 3D, physical reality, and the expansion of all the connection. And, what's it going to be like when that happens? Well, the money systems will be gone as we know them because we'll be moving on different ways of interacting, more manifestation, still have money and stuff, but it won't be that big a deal. You just won't be using it that much. The happiness levels will go way up. The entertainment systems will change because right now there's a lot of predictive programming. And that's going to all go by the wayside. What we call as news is going to disappear because that's designed to keep you in a state of fear and terror and control. So there's going to be entertainment, but it's not going to be like where it's mass anymore. There's going to be some mass entertainment, but it's going to be so much more happening in the community level where you just go and feel like you're in Las Vegas every night when you just go down the street to your local place where people are gathering out and having a good time. So that's going to be there. The whole systems that we know as war and stuff, what's that all about, right? Because those are, those people are going to, remember we talked earlier about the bifurcation, they're going to go choose the timeline where they get to go play and fight for another, 6 or 26,000 years until they get another opportunity to come around. So yeah, I haven't really looked at what it's going to be like yet. All I know is that I'm having a great time getting there. And so yeah, now it's coming up to the new year. We filmed this before the new year, although you're probably going to be watching and listening to this after the new year. I'm going to probably have to spend my time making a vision board. But I don't want to make it too specific because I don't want to limit myself. I'm going to have to do what Tracy always does, is put awe and wonder around the edge where it just kind of fades into it. So I can know what's next for me, which is Tracy and I are going to release this app. It's going to be super successful. And hundreds of thousands of people are going to learn everything that's being talked about here, and not just learn it academically, start to embody it because of those tools, the tools that Carolina's providing. So yeah, I see a lot of comfort and success with that. And then I also see for me on a personal level is that I'm going through this stuff with my body where it's like I'm starting to understand how the programming about age is kicking in. So I'm feeling it. Spirit keeps telling me, you've got the opportunity to live to at least 120 if you wanted. For me is another 53 years. And I'm like, so how can I move into a place where I have this vibrant body as opposed to what I've been conditioned to believe about a deteriorating body? So those are the immediate things on the forefront: is vibrant health, more love and laughter, more free flow, and the sense of expansion and accomplishment, the wonder that it's growing each and every day.
Thank you. That's beautiful, Peter. I love it.
Yeah.
We will be posting your links below so that people find their way to becoming awesome. And I want to thank you for being a guest. I hope you will be back when your app is ready to launch. I would love to hear more about it, and I'm sure the audience as well.
Beautiful. I make it a date. I got a date with one of the prettiest, funnest, most expansive, incredible awakening coaches on the planet. So yes, I'm showing up to that date.
Thank you very much, Peter. That's awesome. So for the audience, thanks for being here today and watching. I hope this brought you a lot of joy, grace, and radiance in your life. Thank you, Peter, for being a guest.
Lots of love to everybody.